Hi, I am Dr. Micaiah Lockett, your wellness expert. I am transforming lives to better health naturally, back to the basics, and I am doing it with helping people with options to be able to go without the use of medication and or surgeries. So just wanting to be a tool that God can use to help patients and help people know that there are options out there that doesn't always require unnecessary surgery. Now, I'm not against surgery by any means, and I'm not against medication. However, I do know that sometimes they can be overused or overutilized, and sometimes over-recommended. And I always tell patients when it comes to surgery, unless it's emergency, they will always schedule. So you don't have to rush. There are options for you to try. And my heart is for us to be able to have the best health that God intended for us. And that's living our optimal health. So it's not even just getting by, but having quality of life the way God intended. My basis comes from a scripture of Genesis 1:29 that says, and God said, see, I've given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you it shall be for food. So basically, God is saying that He has provided everything we need, and it's just a matter of us taking advantage, being wise, and being good stewards over that He's given us. So one of the things I wanted to share about, to a couple of things, but I know they're saying that January 9th was considered National Quitters Day, and that was based on New Year's goals, New Year's resolutions that a lot of people have. You know, we start off the year really strong and empowered, gonna change the world. And then by January 9th, it's saying that we're no longer actively doing our goals. So the key to it all is understanding that we are human, but yet God has empowered us with abilities to get our lives in order, get our health in order. And health is the most important thing you have, because outside of your health, your destiny can't be fulfilled. You can't do your job or do your God-given talents and gifts if you're not feeling your best and not doing well. So that's why I'm here, to be a vessel for Him to use to make a difference. So one of the things I want to share about today was about sugar and the impact of sugar. I know you hear it talked about all the time, but I actually had an example of like juice and some of the things that we like to indulge in, and we wonder why we're not feeling our best, but we're like, well, all I did was had a little. I hear that a lot. Or I don't eat that much, or I'm not doing that bad. And it's not that you're intentionally doing bad and doing harmful things. You're just not aware of some of the small things that may be making a difference and impacting your overall health. So one of the things I was going to talk about is called high fructose corn syrup. So that is the fake sugar. And we often reference to how back in the day, sugar was not as bad. Well, there is some kind of truth to that in a sense, because high fructose corn syrup is the fake sugar now that's creating havoc in our bodies with diabetes and inflammation, to where now our bodies are saying, I don't even know what it is. It doesn't recognize it because it's a man-made formula. I researched and found that high fructose corn syrup came about in the 1950s and 60s. So prior to that, there was original cane, original sugars being used. And I don't think obesity was such an epidemic as it is now. But it says it came that through the discovery of enzymes that convert corn syrups like glucose into the sweetener fructose. And it creates the high fructose corn syrup, which is basically to allow a longer shelf life for the foods that we eat. So that's why I always tell patients, if you can stay on the outer skirts or the perimeters of the store, you're more likely to be healthier. The minute you go into the aisles, the grocery aisles, outside of the perimeter, you run the risk of getting things that are chemicals and that the body doesn't recognize. And it turns into other things like cancer and inflammation and all these chronic diseases that used to be for the elderly are now becoming more in the younger generation. An example I have is just something as simple as cranberry juice. You know, that's one that a lot of people will say, well, I won't get a soda, I'll just get some juice. And sometimes even juice can be a problem to our bodies, because I'm here now with a label. This is the cranberry 100% juice. The key is you always want 100%, because at least you know it's not, it has less sugar than some of the ones that'll say on the back. If you look at the label, because the label is the most important part of our food item, because labels are the truth, whereas the front of any packaging is marketing, and that's free for all. So they can put anything on the front, but you want to have labeling and read the labels, because that's where the truth is. And that's where you find out what's really in this food item that you're about to consume. But it says that typically the average person should have 25 grams, no more than 25 grams of sugar a day. Well, I have a label here with the Ocean Spray cranberry juice, and just 8 ounces. That's just half of a cup, basically. Well, it's a full cup if you're doing a cup measure, but that's like a third of what we drink when we get those 16 ounces, or half of what we drink when we get the 16-ounce containers. Half of that juice alone is 23 to 29 grams. So if you're drinking one of those juices, you've already consumed your whole entire day's worth of sugar. So anything you do in addition to that is chaos for your body. So this is why a lot of times we're finding ourselves like, how did I just have what? The doctor says my labs look like what? Because you really have to be intentional with the amount of sugar intake that you have. So this whole point of me being on here is to maybe get more interaction. This is the beginning, but every Tuesday I want to do what is called Talk to Me Tuesday, where you get to ask questions, or maybe there's times when you were at your doctor and you didn't know some things and you were questioning some of the things they were saying to you. I just want it to be an open forum for us, or open platform for you can be able to interact, ask questions on the holistic side, because I'm more on that side, but I can also address, because I'm work with the other side as well, how we just have to work together in getting you to the best health that you possibly can. So I am so excited about being here and being able to share. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, Dr. Micaiah Lockett. I'm transforming lives to better health, back to the basics. And I want you to know that I am a vessel for you to serve you and help you in your health journey, so that you can have the best health that God intended for you to have. My number is at the bottom in the comments, as well as a way to connect with me. So I look forward to talking to you again next week. But again, remember, avoid high fructose corn syrup this as much as possible. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.